Mayo County Council have recently passed the Mayo County Development Plan 2022 to 2028. And this document will essentially govern all development that happens inside the county for the next 6 years. And importantly, the plan in its current form includes the consideration will be given to planning applications that lead on to the national primary or national secondary road network. A really positive step to ensure that planning applications can happen into the future. However, the central planners in Dublin, the Office of the Planning Regulator, have wrote to the council and issued a report to the line minister, Peter Burke, demanding that the consideration for planning in such areas be removed from the county development plan, meaning that no planning can take place across the vast majority of the county. The report by the Office of the Planning Regulator essentially will forbid all planning onto the national primary roads, national secondary roads, and also roads that lead onto these national routes with a speed limit in excess of 80 kilometers per hour. And this is essentially the vast majority of the county. The central planners here in Dublin are essentially saying that the vast majority of Mayo is no longer possible to obtain planning. So let's just take a brief look at the national routes across the county. There are about 6 national routes, the largest being the N59 on the west side of the county. We can see here it begins in Leanon, travels north to Westport, on to Newport, across to Mulranny, up across the Ballycroy area, into Bangor Earth, over to Crossmolina, into Ballina, and then on to Sligo. It's an enormous stretch of road. If you go and over to the east side of the county now, we can look at the N17, starts in Ballandine, into Claremorris, proceeds into Knock, Kilkelly, Charlestown, and again into Sligo. We look here in the central part of the county, the N5, the N26, and the N58. The N5 from Westport, Castlebar, Swinford, Ballahadreen, and into Roscommon. We have the N26, which links Charlestown and Sligo, and the N58 as well. Next up, then, we have the N60 from Castlebar, Ball, Claremorris, and then on to Ballyhonus. And lastly, then, the N84 links Castlebar and Ballinrobe. It is the vast majority of the county. The huge part of the county is connected by these roads and feed onto the national primary and secondary roads. And this is at a time when the country is experiencing the worst housing crisis in its history. We have a situation of spiraling rents, homelessness is increasing week on week, and a whole generation of people, of young people, are entirely locked out of the housing market. We can also see what happened in Dublin last week. Hundreds of people attended and went to a viewing for a rental house in Dublin. Literally hundreds of people that made the headlines last week. And this week, we saw the plight of a Mayo family, a family from Westport, a family who have been renting in Westport for a number of years, right throughout the lockdown, who have paid their rent. And that family as rent has gone from €960 to €1,650 increase. That's a whopping 70% rental increase overnight. And what is the government's response? Well, the government is essentially saying here that the vast majority of Mayo it's no longer possible to obtain planning. It's no longer possible to even dream of ever one day building on perhaps your family farm. It's a shocking situation. It's a situation where we must stand up and act. And on that point of the family farm, the report by the OPR have explicitly stated that the provision applies to all categories of development, including houses in rural areas, regardless of the housing circumstances of the applicant, stating explicitly that sons and daughters taking over the farm would no longer be given consideration. And that's a consideration that was included in the development plan for 2022 to 2028. This will have huge consequences for rural Ireland. It will be the demise of our way of life here in rural Ireland. It will be the end of intergenerational family farming. And there is a massive value to raising your family on the farm, on the land, in the country, where grandchildren can grow up and with the love and with the support and with the wisdom of their grandparents. And indeed, grandparents can grow up with the support and love and affection and the joy that grandchildren can bring. So this is a huge attack on our way of life. And let there be no doubt that the politicians may blame the central planners in Dublin, but the office of the planning regulator's function is to implement government policy. So we have raised this issue with the Minister for State, Peter Burke, and we will continue to raise it. And we have launched a campaign to resist this move and ensure that the people of Mayo and the councillors of Mayo can determine the plan for Mayo. And that is what the people of Mayo are saying. That is what the councillors of this county are saying. And it's not right and it's not fair that the planners in Dublin are dictating in such a way to the people of this county. So we're asking people to join the campaign, sign the petition, and stand up for our way of life here in Mayo. Gur míle magat.